Welcome! And today we'll dive into the stories and reactions to the post from Zintheros titled, "My Grandma Tried to Ruin My Brother's Wedding." Hi, this is Derek. I just put the Drama Llama, Fred, back in his pen so that I can do this quick video for you with some of the stuff that Fred found on Reddit earlier today. Oh boy, let's get ready for some stories. My grandma tried to ruin my brother's wedding. My brother's wedding was 2 years ago, but this still pisses me off every time it comes to mind. My grandmother is rather histrionic. If she isn't the center of attention, she will make herself the center of attention. So it was my brother's wedding and I was his best man. I have a tiny car and needed to be at the wedding venue early. And my grandma was going to be picked up by my parents later. She wasn't anywhere near ready and I needed to leave. So I assumed all was well at this point. We set everything up at the venue and took photos and got ready for the ceremony, and finally, my parents arrived with my grandma in tow. She was already pissed and causing a scene because I had abandoned her when I left for the venue. We managed to calm her down, but I could see my brother was already getting disappointed with the situation. He just wanted everything to go right, and he is too nice to say anything to our grandma. Things went okay for a while. Until we were seating her in the chapel. And she wasn't getting to sit with my mom and dad at the very front, where the parents of the bride and groom had the place of honor. Once more she made a big scene until she was moved to the front next to my parents. My brother was red with embarrassment as everyone from both families had pretty much filed into the chapel. Once more things calmed back down once she had her way. The last straw was at the reception. Everyone was eating and having a good time. I was going around checking on the tables to make sure everything was going well and people were being taken care of. And then I get to my grandma's table. I don't remember exactly what she said as I kind of lost it at that point, and it was 2+ years ago. But it was something like, "Why is this taking so long? If they aren't going to get the reception moving along, I need you to take me home." I replied with something like, "I still have to give the best man speech in a while, and you aren't going to be asking mom and dad to take you back." Then she said the words, she said this to me growing up anytime I said anything about school. Or something I had learned or disagreed about, and it basically instantly triggers me. "Don't you get smart with me, you little poop." I saw red, and I said something to get her to come outside the venue, then I got vicious. I didn't yell, because I didn't want to draw attention to the situation. But anyone within line of sight would easily know I was effing pissed. I told her something along the lines of, "You need to sit down and shut the F up, this is my brother's wedding. He still believes you are this amazing person that he wants in his life. But I've seen through to the vile biatch you are for years now. You mistreat and abuse my mom and you are trying to do the same poop to my brother now. Your BS will never fly with me, I know what you are. And if you don't get back in there and pretend that you're having a great time, you will have nothing to do with my life." She got all pissy and "How dare you talk to your elders like that." I handed her the keys to my car and told her she could leave if she absolutely couldn't stand the reception. But if she did, she would never be invited to be a part of anything in my life, not my wedding, not my graduation, not even to see any grandchildren I may have in the future. You will be lucky if you see me again before you die. Apparently she either didn't care or thought I was bluffing because she left. I haven't seen her since, my choice. She complains to my mom that I don't talk to her. I specifically sent her what looked like an invitation that told her that she wasn't invited to my wedding. Then she wasn't invited to my graduation, and after learning about the racist comments she made about me, Caucasian, and my Asian wife, and how it was good we hadn't had any children yet because the world doesn't need any more Asian babies. I effing hate her guts. I'd like to say some part of me still loves her, but after everything, I can't stand even the thought of her. If there was any chance I could forgive her for how she tried to ruin my brother's wedding, her racist BS pretty much solidified my determination that she would never meet her grandchildren. And that I'm not even sure I would be willing to visit her on her deathbed. I don't know if I overreacted or if I'm a bad person for responding like this. But I watched for 18 years as she emotionally abused my mom over and over again, and my dad by proxy. She had always doted on me and my brother, but when she acted like that at my brother's wedding, all of that came boiling to the surface and I tore into her. Edit, a lot of people are asking if my brother has seen the light, and the answer is kind of. But he's a lot nicer / more gullible than me and writes her poop off as it's just how she is, but she's family. My grandma took a great effort when we were growing up to let us know that blood is thicker than water, that your friends will always leave. But your family will always be there. I never bought into it, because my friends were always more supportive and reliable than my family. My brother did buy into it. Edit, my car was fine. That thought never crossed my mind as a possibility. My grandma is terrified of car wrecks due to a wreck in her youth that pretty seriously messed her up. Also, I probably assumed that she was aware that I wouldn't hesitate to call the police on her for anything like that. What are your thoughts on Zyntharo's story? Please share in the comments below. Now let's go on to hear how some Reddit members reacted to this story. Soapy Bob reacted with, "You didn't overreact. You reacted perfectly. The old biatch needed to hear the truth. My mother's father, refused to call him grandfather, was very similar. All about him. The phone only worked one way, you had to call him. And he would complain about the length of time between calls. Every single time. Never pleased to hear from you, just keen to complain about who had done him wrong. Why he was so hard done by, and how I was failing him as a granddaughter. The last straw came at my sister's wedding. He was sat alone, so I went to chat to him. His first response was to say sarcastically, 'Oh, thanks so much for talking to me, I thought I had AIDS.' As I sat there, gobsmacked, clutching about for the right words. He then shouted at two small kids who were dancing by us, telling them to F off out of it. I found the right words then. They were, 'I'm done.' And I was. That was 1995. He died 2004. Didn't go to the funeral because, F him. I don't regret cutting him out one single bit. You did the right thing. And you did too. Had a similar situation with my grandfather. Yes, he had PTSD from 2 wars. But the last straw came when he said, 'I'll shoot you all.' I saw him on his deathbed and he seemed to be apologetic. He was 94 and the shoot you all was in his 80s. I'm sorry for him, my family, and all of you who know where I'm coming from. Because it's a lose-lose situation." Fly Faster reacted with, "You, sir, are a modern-day hero. I have similar members in my life, and it was so satisfying reading this. Good on you for standing up for your wife and future family. Sticking up for your brother, yourself, and sticking to your guns. That's a lot of standing and sticking." Seconded. People like this need at least one person to tell them they see them for exactly what they are. She deserves nothing from you, original poster. You're a freaking star. Weird how people who were already adults 50 years ago can be so childish. You're literally getting sense talked into by your children's children. If she hasn't changed to this day, she'll die the same. No point getting boiling blood at this point. But you do have to stick to your guns. No contact works wonders. Just an old baby boomer reacted with, "You did not overreact. That entitled biatch deserved to get a royal butt chewing for trying to destroy your brother's wedding for her own benefit. I had to deal with a similar situation with Birth Breeder, who was hell-bent on ruining my brother's wedding. And had the audacity to play the victim. Because my brother refused to leave his bride. And come spend his wedding night with mommy dearest. Jocasta much? The guests were like, what the F? And I dragged her out of there. I was so done." 137 Fine reacted with, "My 82-year-old, 330 pounds wheelchair-bound white mother, casually dropped the N-word yesterday at dinner. And I immediately said, 'You don't get to use that word around me ever.' She replied, 'Well, my daddy was part mulatto.' And I replied, 'You've never represented yourself as anything other than lily white my whole life. So you don't get to represent as such now. Also, you don't get to act like an effing racist piece of poop.' That shut her up. Later, I reminded her that as someone that has a fall and trip history, she should probably be a lot kinder to her caregivers." Greek Jester reacted with, "Well done. Has your brother realized how toxic she is yet?" Not really, she did a bang-up job of brainwashing my mom and my brother. For some reason, I am fairly resistant to such efforts. It's frustrating to watch them just accept her garbage instead of confronting her about it. Belgium Waffle 0123 reacted with, How did she even got invited? If you knew she was like that. Because it was my brother's wedding. And he hadn't seen her for what she is yet. JD British reacted with, "You didn't overreact from what you said here. I think your life will be much improved without her in it. Your wife certainly is. You. In fact, no one needs that kind of malarkey in their lives. I hope she hasn't taken it out on your poor mum though. My mum's mom was not dissimilar, but my dad shut her down every time. And she behaved better eventually. Still hateful, but then silent and hateful." Agreed. Thank God, you pushed her out before she could start abusing your wife, who? A racist has no filter and feels justified for any hateful comments they spew out. Then it's, "Oh, I didn't mean it like that," or, "Well, she's just too sensitive." All the best to you and your brother and your new lives. JJag5187 reacted with, "What an effing entitled old bat." Whiskey Not Wine reacted with, "Blood doesn't make you family. I'm sure there's a beautiful woman somewhere in your life that would love to have you as a pseudo-grandson. Cherish that relationship. Also, kudos to you for standing up to her at your brother's wedding years ago. I'm glad you did so that she couldn't make more of a scene. Hopefully, he'll never have to know the truth." Metalborn01 reacted with, "The idea that blood is thicker than water is BS. And one of the biggest adult decisions you'll have to make in life is when to cut off toxic family members." And finally, VC Walden reacted with, "Well, that proves it. You can't pick your relatives, there is no law you have to love/like them nor put up with their crap. And good for you for putting an end to her at your brother's wedding. No one needs to have a toxic person in their lives. Your lovely wife and children do not deserve to have someone be a part of their lives who is like this. Good for you for standing up to her and speaking your mind. It's her loss and your gain. Keep the good attitude. Be happy in your life. And just move on." Well, there you have it. A perfectly great set of reactions from a bunch of upstanding citizens. Help support this channel by smashing the like and subscribe buttons. And hit that silly little bell as well to ensure you get the latest videos as they come out. Fred is always finding stuff for me to post regularly. So this is Derek signing off. Thanks for watching. Good grief, it sounds like Fred is out of his pen again. He must have found more stories for me to share with you. See you soon.